what did I know of the world around me anymore? I couldn't see, I couldn't hear, I couldn't smell, I couldn't taste. There were people who, to sort of support me and knowing my love for food, actually used to walk into the hospital with these bowls full of favorite things that I love to eat and things to cheer me up. But what was the use? I could taste nothing. I could smell nothing. I could feel nothing. So where was I and why was I even alive was the thought that went on in my head, on and on and on and on. I think what stopped me from actually acting on something was my support system, which comprised my family and some very close friends who sort of had attached themselves to me at the hip and refused to let me go. They went on and on about how I could not give up and how my life was still waiting for me to happen. I was like, what life? Who's even talking of a life? I mean, don't be funny now. Where is the life? But they kept saying there was a life. And I didn't have a choice, because if I wanted to give up and die, it wasn't truly in my hands. I don't think it was even there for me to say, okay, those very flashy scenes you see in cinema and things like that of putting out all your, all the various gadgets that are attached to you, and maybe an IV that is running something very important in your veins and stuff like that. I had all of that. But did I have the courage to actually yank all of that out and be the heroine that I thought I wanted to be? No, I didn't. I was a complete coward. I didn't want to give up. In my heart, I didn't want to give up. But in my body, I wanted to give up, because my body had really let me down. But anyway, time went on, and my family rallied, my friends rallied, medicine let me down, the system let me down. When I say the system let me down, I have to bring it to the attention of a lot of people who, in these unprecedented times of the pandemic, have probably seen for themselves. Although, strangely speaking, this particular pandemic has brought a lot of people together, a lot of systems together, a lot of support systems together, and a lot of community support. In my case, all those years ago, 29 years ago, which I think is true even today of the medical system, there was no support from the medical system per se, apart from giving me medical care. So the entire onus of, caregiving fell on my family. My family, who had no idea. I think none of us on a regular day know any other doctor apart from our physician. The general physician who gives you medication for various everyday maladies and things like that, but who even ever knew what to do with blindness, what to do with deafness, what to do with something that was so big. We did. And there was no support from the system. There was no counselor. There was no social worker. There was nobody to hold a hand and to tell my parents that it was okay. And life would go on, and that, there were these resources available for people to help me. But there wasn't anything available at that point. So what did it do? It pushed me back. I lived with this little hope that, oh, I'm going to see someday, because, my doctors told me, you're young and you'll definitely see someday. And your optic nerve is redundant, semantically speaking, which again is something that I fought all the time, because I said, don't give me semantics. I know my English. Redundant, dead, same difference. How does it matter? I can't see at the end of the day. So all of this set me back also a little bit. Simple reason being that I clung on to this strange hope that, oh, I was going to be fine and I was going to be able to see. What did it do? It pushed me into 6 years of complete denial of my illness. So going through this entire, think of grief, the stages of grief and things like that. Yeah, the same thing. Same routine of saying, no, I'm going to be okay. Somebody's telling you, okay, you need to put yourself into rehab. It's time you went in to learn Braille. The minute they said Braille, I'd bristle and throw, really pitch a fit and say, no, what Braille? I'm going to be fine. I don't want to read and write, and I can read and write. but I couldn't read and write anymore because I couldn't see. And I was a reader. I was somebody that read from anything from a pamphlet to a newspaper to a hoarding to a book to anything I could lay my hands on, and suddenly I couldn't read. Moving on, I think partially my hearing recovered, which is where I am at even today. I am partially deaf. So I think that sort of lightened things up a little bit for me. I was deafblind for almost 5 months or so. And as I moved on, my family basically devised their own means of communicating with me, writing on the palm of my hand, using it like a blackboard, telling me things. So we had to do it all on our own. We had to understand, unlearn, relearn, and reinvent things for ourselves. But that wasn't easy because it took a toll on everybody. Here I was, somebody who was, otherwise going to be someone who would probably have at some point supported her family, and there I was like needing all the support. So it took away a lot. But in that lot that got taken away also in those 6 years, I did a whole lot of other stuff that my mother thought was necessary for me to do. Having been a hotel management student, I spent 3 grueling years in college trying to, learning things, doing different things and stuff. It was really a very, very hard and tough experience, but so fulfilling. And here I was doing nothing with it. So my mom said, come on, you can't not do anything. So she taught me how to do various things. She told me she put a bowl of vegetables in my hand. I mean, almost as soon as I was out of hospital and I was able to do things and stuff like that, she said, okay, you can definitely string beans and cut vegetables. So I said, okay, let's try it. And I strung beans, and those beans were so easy to string because muscle memory works. I had done it all my life. So what was it, stringing beans? Then it was about picking up the knife and, ensuring that you're safe and you're not going to cut yourself. All part of the relearning. I held it in my hand and I started cutting it. I said, hey, it's still the same knife and it's still the same hand and it's still the same bean and the bowl. What did I do? I cut beans. Beautiful cut beans. Put my hands into the cold beans, and I was overwhelmed completely with that experience. Such a small, inane experience, but it was so overwhelming. Only because it was something that I did as a different person, as a whole new person, a blind person who was on the first step to recovery. I smelled the beans. Has any of you ever taken time to smell the beans when you cut them? Or when you peel a carrot? Or when you're peeling any vegetable? Does anybody even take the time to smell it? I could smell it. And it was more precious to me than ever before because I had a recovered sense of smell and a sense of taste which was slowly recovering. So it was even more precious than ever before. So I smelled everything. I smelled good things, bad things. And then I went from one extreme of not being able to smell at all to the other extreme of becoming almost close to a sniff at all. I could smell things everywhere. And believe me, whether it was smelling garbage or whether it was smelling fabulously cooked food, I appreciated all of it. And that is even today my beacon, my sense of smell. I follow my nose everywhere, wherever it takes me. The first thing, if I'm in a new place, one of the things that I use to orient myself is my sense of smell, to tell me whether I'm, in a grassy green place or whether I'm on a road where there is garbage around and various things like that. Then I also became this person who was most efficient in the dark. Power cut, everybody scrambling around looking for, where is the emergency light? Where is the candle? Where is this? Where is that? And here I am walking around in the darkness, happily smiling at everybody, saying, okay, just hang on, sit there. I'll get you your candle and I'll get you your light. So I was eyes in the dark. And people looking around everywhere at a time, like, stuff, even today. Just a few days back, I have to share this with you. We had, there was a large packet of assorted candy lying in the cupboard. And my parents, my father went in looking for something, and he opened it up and he said, this outside says this is one particular kind of candy, but inside there's a totally different kind of candy. There's nothing else. I said, no, it's assorted. There is some there. He said, no, there's nothing. Look at this here. So I took the bag from him, opened it up, put my hand right to the bottom, rifled a little bit, and out came a handful of the candy that he was looking for. He was using his eyes, and I was using my sense of touch. So there you are. I do many things like this. When people cannot find things, I have to actually get frustrated and tell them, okay, move away, let me do this now. And I'm more successful than others are. Simply because I have concentrated and I have learned to hone my residual skills. What is left, my residual senses are extremely important to me. So I can hear better, I can smell better, I can taste better, and I can touch better. Despite the fact that everything is still partial and patchy, but it's still much better than what a lot of other people who are depending on their sight to do various things. One part of relearning was this, as a person who was learning to get back on her feet. But there was another part of me who, after having learned how to get back on her feet, didn't know what to do with herself either. Simply because I had no career to look forward to anymore. I had no skills as a blind person, no new skills that would help me adapt and reinvent myself in that space. Because I still sat in that somewhere, in that state of denial where I needed to still understand, how I wanted to go about my life. Then comes a phase, like in grief, there comes a phase where you there's an acceptance. It's not just acceptance, it's also getting fed up of something. And that's what happened to me. So I had people who supported me in every way possible, like I'm saying again and again, because I want everybody to know that no man's an island. Nobody is ever alone. These times are so difficult. And at a point when you're sitting alone at your desk at work, and you have a family out there suffering, someone sitting so far away who you hear is probably tested positive for COVID, or somebody else who's in hospital, or someone close. It's so difficult. But please remember, nobody's alone. Absolutely no one is ever alone. It's a choice. Choose to extend your hand. Choose to ask for help. Choose to ask for support. Because that's the only way one can move ahead from any situation, big, small, ugly, nice, whatever that might be. It's very, very important. And it's imperative that we get it into our heads that we are not alone. Because I had to believe that. I went on telling myself, I told this to many people who said that, oh, but we're with you. I said, no, you can't be with me. You're not in my place. You are not where I am, because you don't understand how I'm feeling. Not realizing that they, in their own way, knew exactly how I was feeling. And what they were doing was extending a hand, a helping hand to help me grow, to help me move on. I had to put myself into rehabilitation because after a point, I was so tired of all this, accepting all this help from people. And, people doing things for me, from, helping me put butter on my toast, to applying toothpaste on my toothbrush. Yes, even that. To taking me out, to reading things to me. I wanted to do it on my own. I was tired of having to take somebody's help. So I had touched rock bottom. I had gone down, and I kept going down till I touched rock bottom. And what happens when you touch rock bottom? The only way is up. You can't go down any further. So I didn't go down any further. And slowly but surely, I started moving upwards. Put myself into rehab, active rehabilitation, wherein it meant, we are talking of 1998. Windows new, all the technology was still something that we knew nothing about, at least here. Accessible technology was non-existent in terms of what it is today. So there was a lot of difference. So it meant actually getting down to the basics of reading and writing Braille. With my patchy sense of touch, it was not easy because, touching those, it would be interesting to know if anybody has ever experienced Braille. It's a cluster of 6 dots, extremely difficult to read, and various patterns out of that is going to form your entire alphabet and an entire script. It's so difficult to do that. And I was as it is resistant. So it took me some time, but I got to it. And the minute you read your first word, it is such a sense of accomplishment. And I embraced that accomplishment. I took to the road. It took me a very, very, very long time to be able to actually take the white cane and walk. Because I was okay with holding somebody's elbow, a sighted guide, and walking with them. But when it came to actually holding the cane, there was that last shred of my dignity that wouldn't allow me to do that. My vanity said like, no, I don't want to look like those blind people you see on TV and movies, dark glasses and tapping a cane. No, that's not me. That was my dignity that was calling out to me and saying, no, you can't do this. It took me a while, but then I realized that it was better to do that rather than to have to wait around twiddling my thumbs for someone to come and take me anywhere. Not to say that the Indian infrastructure is anywhere close to allowing people to do that, but we know, any of us who've seen blind people around our cities know that there are blind people who do this all the time. So there I was in 2009, on my way off to Bangalore to learn how to do mobility. Outdoor mobility, took the cane, learned, walked around a block, and I cannot tell you the sense of accomplishment of it. It was fabulous. The freedom of being able to not have to hold somebody's hand, but hold just an appendage, that took me everywhere. Now, it was so wonderful because there I was doing things, wanting to be out there doing stuff on my own. And I started not just learning things myself, but I started teaching other people, because where I was rehabilitated, they put me back there and they said, oh, why don't you work with us as a resource person? So there I was. What had happened? I had a new opportunity. I was back in the workforce in a totally different space. I was a rehab person. I was a rehab professional who not just counseled, who taught people various things. And it was wonderful to see there was a community out there, somebody that had held my hand, a community that had accepted and embraced me and taken me in. In all these years, the community of blind people in India have been responsible for various steps of my success, of how I've moved on. So I urge everybody not to give up on it. Always remember, we are going to have to learn new things all the time. Everybody is. Old dogs, new tricks. Old wine, new bottle, or new bottle, old wine, whichever way you like to take it. But we're doing this all the time. Everyone is. I'm not the best person when it comes to learning new things. I have to admit. I might sound very accomplished and very comfortable right now, but new technology, anything new that happens, it takes me a very, very long time to actually get down to doing it. I'm very cagey. I like to sit on the sidelines and look in, sit and ponder and say, oh, should I, shouldn't I? So every time we moved to new technology, it was an issue. I was just not with it. From mobile phones, so using screen readers, 2007, imagine from 1992 to 2007, I didn't know how to use a laptop or a desktop because I didn't want to have to type on that full QWERTY keyboard. I was happy using a 6-dot Braille note companion, which was an input device in Braille and output was in speech. So I was very happy, but that was stopping me from allowing myself to blend in the mainstream. So people kept telling me, no, you can't do this. You have to get out. And somebody actually threatened to take away that device from me because I was refusing to move on. Then came the opportunity of going back to the hotel industry, which finally, after all these years, one person wanted to give me the chance to, get out there and try my hand again. But what had happened, what I had trained to do was not what I could do anymore. I joined the sales team sitting at the desk and, talking about selling hotels and things like that. But that's not who I was. I was a people's person. I loved interactions. But these were interactions that limited and stunted what I could do. But I didn't give up. I still decided that there was lots to learn even in that experience. I learned, I became better at using my technology. Then came the time when we moved from using, physical keys to touchscreen that everybody knows about. I had an iPhone that sat with me for 8 months because I refused to touch it. How will I ever do it? It's touch screen. I can't do this. I can't do that. People laughed at me. They said people would give their right arm for the phone that you have sitting in your cupboard. I said, I'm not doing it. Then slowly, somebody came, a friend came, and he said, let me show you how to do this, how it's done, and whatever it is. So he sort of gave me an orientation, and then I started using it. Now my life is hinges on my phone. So there's a lot of this stuff that one needs to do all the time. Everybody, I think each one of you sitting out there today who used to go to the office, do things out at the office, and everything is now sitting over there at a desk, probably having to learn a whole lot of new technology, learn a whole lot of new strange platforms that one needs to be on all the time. But it's not easy to do. It hasn't been easy for everybody, and to live with this entire uncertainty of tomorrow. But then none of us know what tomorrow has in store in any case. So why are we even worrying about the tomorrow? I'm saying this because I, somewhere around the line, have learned to believe that there's no worry about tomorrow. If at that point in 1992, I had believed that I would be sitting here where I am today, doing the things that I am today, I would have probably laughed at myself and said, what a dream. Go on, girl, dream. But honestly, I didn't even dream at that point in time because I had no capacity to dream. What I did was I kept doing. I kept at it. Opportunities came, people came. I shoved a lot of them out. I embraced a lot. I brought people in who I wanted. Some came, some went. And it's not as if life stopped happening because disparity was just one aspect of what was happening to my life. I had many other incidents that happened, many other things at a workplace, trying to adjust, trying to get into a space. And, then it's not just about technology. It's not just about people. It's about adjusting to an entire environment of where you meet people and people see you differently. I'm meeting a client who otherwise has been speaking with me on the phone for many, many months and decides to drop in at the hotel. And when I go out to meet him, he's shocked. Shocked enough to not want to shake my hand. So I have to tell him, hey, same me. Listen to my voice, close your eyes, listen to my voice. It's the same me. I just am extending your hand. This is just a physical version of me. But people just don't get it because I don't blame them. But it's true. It happens to all of us. And adjusting to a new environment, it's like going to a new workplace and trying to adjust there. And then you have people who don't know how to treat you, who don't know what to do with you. Like if I say boo to her, will she cry? If I ask her a question, is she going to throw a tantrum? They don't know. So who does the ice breaking? I do. I open my mouth and I start talking. And I just tell people to get comfortable. I said, the only thing you need to know about me is that I have a mind that thinks. And I have a heart that beats. And I have a body that acts. So just go with it and ask me if I want help. Don't just drag me around the place. Pull my hand and take me all over the place. Don't do that, please. I don't need that kind of help. Ask me if I want help. So I think I did one little sensitization program where everywhere I go, whether it's any platform on online or any place, any restaurant, wherever I go, I think I'm a walking, talking sensitization program on my own because It's something that you do all the time, but it is so wonderful. It is so fulfilling to be out there, filling a space and filling a role of a person you didn't even know existed in you. There was this person that was probably latent and lying in wait all the time that I didn't know existed. I had a spirit, just like all of you do, to rise above any challenge life throws at you. It is so resilient and it is so there, waiting to talk to you. All you have to do is open your heart, open your mind, and listen. And this is not just pretty words. Believe me, it's not just profound, pretty words. It's very, very true. Because in my 29 years of living life as a wholly new person, every now and then there is a difference in me. There is a new person that emerges at different stages of my life. What I was last year before the pandemic struck and who I am today is a different person. Who I was before that was a different person. So there's that different person in all of us, and everybody in some way or the other know it. But it's about recognizing that. It's about accepting it. And believe me, today, my mantra that I found right here, sitting where I am at, this is my work desk where I'm sitting at. I have sat at this work desk for many, many years working out of here. But without being able to recognize that here in the same place is an opportunity. Doors have kept opening. People have kept connecting for different things, for different reasons. I have learned there are, talents in me that I didn't know even existed. But today, I'm seeing that there are, and I'm expanding my horizons. I'm accepting things. I've learned not to say no to anything that comes my way. I say, yes, let me try it. What's the worst that will happen? I'll fail. Okay, I'll fail. It won't be a happy thing. I'm not one of those that will fail very easily and say, it's okay, I fail. I'll be very upset about it for a very, very long time. I'll brood over it and I'll mope and everything, but I'll suck it up and go on. So what is it that I found? I found that in every adversity lies an opportunity. That's my new mantra. Adversity hits everyone at some point in time or the other. Everyone faces difficulty at some point in time or the other. And life never stops going on. It goes on with or without you. You have the choice to decide whether you want to join the multitude or you want to sit on your own and be left behind. Because, believe me, you will be left behind. The person who puts his head down on the pillow at night to go to sleep is alone. Your troubles, your thoughts, your dreams, aspirations, hopes, worries are ultimately all yours. I understand that. But if you share that burden with someone else, if you extend your hand to that one other person, giving and seeking help, or at least talking about the fact that there is someone out there, there is a world out there that wants you as you are. Challenges, trials, tribulations, triumphs, and all. You need to allow your mind to look at the opportunity. You need your mind to recognize the opportunity. For that, all you can do is open your mind and just let it happen. I mean, there's nothing that we could do. Who even thought, when I think of the pandemic and all the horror stories that we hear, I get reminded of those movies that we used to see, the science fiction movies that you used to get to see, which spoke of a universe that would probably implode, or you spoke of these of gremlins and things, these creatures that would be all around. Who even knew that we will live to see something that was so unprecedented? There have been losses, there have been grave changes in everything. But look at all of you here, look at us here. We are all here and now, connecting in a space that we wouldn't have even imagined that we could be at. So I would really, really urge everybody, dare to dream. Just dare to dream. Anything, anything. And just hang on to it. Don't let go. Because difficulties are not going to stop coming at you just because you've reached a place where you're probably, feeling very confident and comfortable in everything. You have your, successes, and you've had wonderful breakthroughs. Excellent. But why stop striving? Just go on with it and recognize within you the person who's sitting right there, waiting to be unleashed. I think it is a power that is waiting to be unleashed. I think it's very, very, very important for us at times that we really are feeling down and out and really feeling like, gosh, what is this? Another day, another morning. I don't want to open my eyes. I don't like the morning. That's the time. You need to open your eyes and look at the morning and look at the sunshine. Breathe the air. Smell the green. And tell yourself, it's another day. It's come. Like it or not, you have to go through it. So what's the better way of doing it? Do what I do. I said, okay, another day. So when days that I can't, I feel like something looming large and something that's difficult happening, I tell myself, today this time, tomorrow this time, today would have gone. It's just the platitudes. Those are little things that you do for yourself to keep yourself going. So please, please, please keep yourself going, and you have to realize and you have to allow yourself the time to be unhappy, the time to be sad, the time to be everything. But please keep your minds open. Please keep your hearts open to opportunities, because they're there. There's someone waiting out there to help you. Don't reject any of that, because I didn't dream at that point in time, but I did have this little blinking light. I would still be poetic about it and call it a small spark, an ember. You could probably call it an LED light today. But I have this spark that was probably there, that went unrecognized, that even I didn't think was there, but it was there. And the minute I opened myself to it, it just burst into flame. And it is me today, somebody who never thought would be able to do all the things that I do. I mean, I had to teach blind people how to cook. When I first learned how to cook myself, it was my mother walked out of the kitchen when my rehabilitator was first teaching me how to light the gas stove. She just walked out thinking, oh God, she's going to burn this house down. She's going to kill herself or something like that. She just walked out. But I did it. I continued. And it's something that I do with great pride and a great joy. So my endeavor, Rasoi Ke Rahasya, is my labor of love and my attempt to give back to a community that has given me so much. All of us have this in us. Let's just go for it. And let's just do everything we can. Recognize the new person in you. Allow the person out. And believe me, you won't regret it, because I did. Thank you so much for listening to me.